Welcome to Red Sox Digest, the only show where pain, sarcasm, and a dash of hope collide nightly like a Trevor Story strikeout. We cover every loss, every meltdown, and yes, even the rare win, with brutally honest takes and zero front office fluff. Subscribe today at RedSoxDigest.com or risk being left out in the cold like a home game in April. And now, here's the crew at Red Sox Digest.
Good evening, sports fans, and welcome to another edition of Red Sox Digest. I am your host tonight, Jim Delfino. And honestly, if you're listening to this show right now, that's on you, because tuning into Red Sox Digest in February is basically signing a waiver that says I acknowledge the news may actively ruin my evening. This podcast can't give you good news. It can only give you less shocking bad news. We're not a baseball show. We're a medical alert bracelet for Red Sox fans. And if this episode pops up in your feed, it's not because something good happened. It's because something deeply stupid just occurred at Fenway. Red Sox Digest is like when your phone buzzes at 2:37 a.m. and you already know it's not a "Hey, what's up" text. It's a "Are you sitting down" situation. Every time I hit record, the Red Sox front office does something that makes me say, there's no way this gets worse, and then immediately proves me wrong. This show doesn't break news, it confirms your worst suspicions. If optimism were a stock, this podcast would be the moment you panic sell. People don't listen to Red Sox Digest to feel better. They listen because they want someone else to say it out loud first. Yeah, this is bad. So if you're here tonight, congratulations. If you didn't tune in for hope, you tuned in for clarity and possibly grief counseling. Now, joining me tonight is Nick Face. Nick has spent the last 12 hours explaining online to the Red Sox Twitter nerds why actually signing fringe utility players is bad for roster construction. Nick doesn't argue to be right. He argues to finish you. He doesn't tweet opinions, he files grievances. If rage burned calories, Nick would be midseason shape by March. Also joining me tonight is Thayer Doyle, the only man calm enough to explain fundamentals while the house is actively on fire. Thayer believes in defense, grit, and doing the little things right, which is perfect because that's exactly what the Red Sox keep telling us we should care about instead of signing players who can drive in runs. And finally, joining us tonight is John Martinello. John is not here to explain this offseason. He's here because he's mad. This man has watched the Red Sox bring back Mickey Gasper, sign Isiah Kiner-Falefa, and call it progress. And you can physically see the patience leaving his body. John doesn't analyze these moves anymore. He stares at them like a man watching the same bad rerun for the 8th year in a row. Every signing just gets the same reaction. This is what we're doing. While other fans are still trying to talk themselves into depth, John is already at the stage where he's offended by the press release. Utility guy, again. Former Red Sox who already couldn't hit here, again. John is furious not just because these players exist, but because this front office keeps pretending they're solutions. He's tired of being told that bringing back scrubs is smart baseball when it's really just avoiding real decisions. Let's get into it. The Boston Red Sox have officially signed Mickey Gasper. Yes, that Mickey Gasper. The only one who couldn't buy a hit with the Red Sox. The one who showed up, swung the bat like it was filled with soap, and vanished. That Mickey Gasper. And now he's back. You know how bad that is? That's not depth. That's deja vu with worse lightning. That's when you rehire someone who already broke the copier and go, maybe he's grown. This is the baseball equivalent of microwaving leftovers that already sucked the first time. And then, just to really twist the knife, the Red Sox follow it up by signing Isiah Kiner-Falefa. Now listen, IFK is a professional baseball player. He plays defense, he runs hard, he's versatile. He also inspires exactly zero fear in opposing pitchers. This is not an off-season plan. This is a clearance rack. This is John Henry walking through Home Goods saying, look at all the value, while the roster quietly starves to death offensively. Every year, it's the same pitch. We like our versatility. We like our flexibility. We like our internal options. You know who doesn't like it? The fans. Remember those people, John? The ones who actually buy the friggin' tickets? Because while other teams are adding bats, the Red Sox are assembling a lineup that looks like a spring training split squad in July on a Tuesday against a guy making his major league debut. This isn't roster building, it's vibes management. You cannot keep telling fans to be patient while running out lineups that scream, hope the pitcher throws up. There is no thump, no intimidation, no moment where a reliever warms up and goes, hell, I don't want to face this guy. It's all right, pound the zone. Worst case, it's a single. Mickey Gasper is back. IFK is signed. And somewhere, a Red Sox fan just whispered, who the fuck are these guys? But that's tonight's show. And with that, it's time for all of us to face the facts.
It's time for Face the Facts, where excuses get laughed out of the room, your feelings are irrelevant, and your opinion probably doesn't matter. No spin, no cope, just the facts. And now, your esteemed host, Nick Face.
The floor is yours, Nick.
Did I just wake up from a bad dream? What year is it? What month is it? Is the season start? Please tell me Pete Alonso's on this team. Please tell me Bo Bichette. Please tell me they did Kyle Schwarber. Alex Bregman's back, right? We must have went to plan B. Then must be Kentel Marte. They traded for him. Tell me that. Did they do that? So that would mean my take on the last game of the season, where I told you that the Red Sox will have a little combination of Casas at first. Obviously, we'll have Contreras there because I believe that was what I've heard in my sleep in the past 2-3 months since it's been the off season has started. It must mean that Trevor Story is back. It must mean that now Nate Eaton and Marcelo Meyer will battle it out for third base. Did we trade any outfielders, guys, during my siesta? Wow. Folks, the reason why I'm kind of saying that smirkingly is that I told you so. I told you. And guess what? What you see is what you're going to get. Don't expect anything else this offseason. They're done. They packed it in. They have said, this is what we're riding with. This is what it's going to be. F you to the fans. That's what it is. Today's signings truly put me onto another level of anger that I don't think I've ever reached yet as a Red Sox fan. Mickey Gasper. What in the effing world are we doing? What are we doing? Do we have sympathy trophies now? Do we feel bad because he never got a hit when he was here? Oh, so we must bring him back. Oh, definitely with the mustache too, because he just fits everything. We're going to have a nice soap opera at Fenway Park with him there. And then Isiah Kiner-Falefa, the forgotten one from the Yankees, who has been rotating around all these different has-been teams. He's not even good enough for the Pittsburgh Pirates to bring him back. That's where we're at. A heaping pile of trash. I am ashamed. I am outraged. I am disgusted to be a Red Sox fan right now. That's how I feel right now. There is rage. There is anger. There is this feeling of we won our 4 championships, we don't give a flying F anymore. But keep buying those tickets. Keep coming to Fenway Theater. Come to Winter Weekend. Do all this other crap to support ownership that wants nothing to do with the city, wants nothing to do with improving their team, and doesn't care anymore. If they don't care, why should we care, folks? Why? Why should we be putting in the effort trying to tell you and talk to you about, oh, don't worry, the offseason is still there. There's another month. They could still do something before the season starts. I'm not going to say that, guys. Jim, John, I don't think you guys are going to say it either. We're not coming with you with a hope and a pray method. We're coming at you right now. We're telling you how it is. We're going to be real. We're going to tell you it's unacceptable. You have full right to be mad. You have full right to be demanding John Henry sell this team because, truthfully, the only reason and the only way this team will go back to winning ways, championship style baseball every season for what we grew up from the mid 2000s into at least 2018 was championship style. There was that desire to get to the postseason, the desire to bring in the best players, to have a great farm system, to develop, to have everything that you ever wanted. It doesn't matter anymore because now you're at the bottom of the barrel signing people because you feel bad or have no plan. You got no plan. Ever since Bregman told you, F you, I am not coming back because you didn't give me a full no trade clause. You can blame Breslow all you want, and I think he is an absolute boob as a general manager who he shouldn't even be qualified to be a general manager in the first place. Shouldn't even be in the position he is. But if you really want to be mad, you should be mad at the top of the chart. You should be mad at John Henry. You should be mad at Sam Kennedy. You should be screaming off the rooftops for these two clowns and imbeciles to sell this team and get out of our lives. It'd be the greatest thing that ever happened right now if you're a Red Sox fan. Tom Warner's included in that too. Get Fenway F group out of here. I'm done. Thanks for the 4. Good riddance.
Yeah, Nick's Face the Facts is sponsored by Save-A-Lot and Ocean State Job Lot, where you don't go for stars, you go for good enough. Because when your off-season strategy is quantity over quality, why shop anywhere else?
It's
And
also
now-
sponsored by my local fire department down the street because I am just steaming hot right now. There is a fire burning in me right now, so you better put it out.
It's now time for the Martinello Minute.
And now, the part they don't want said out loud. No spreadsheets or corporate spin, just the truth, raw and impatient. This is the Martinello Minute.
Just like Nick said, sell the fucking team. But a team that I'm looking forward to watching this year, got my Worcester Red Sox hat on. I'll be tuning into them a little bit more. But about a year ago, give or take, be in Worcester a lot. About a year ago, give or take, Red Sox Nation was celebrating signing an all-star talent third baseman or second baseman, according to Alex Cora, Alex Bregman. For a second, we all thought the big bad Red Sox were back, fighting for an AL East every year, having meaningful games in September, having a relentless lineup that rivals any other in Major League Baseball. Again, like this was literally 12 months ago. Now, February 4th, 2026, I get the opportunity of sitting here on this show and break down Craig Breslow's latest blockbuster signing of Isiah Kiner-Falefa. No, you're not getting Isaac Paredes. You're not getting Matt Shaw. You're not getting Nico Horner, and definitely not Gino Suarez. He wasn't even good enough to get offered a contract. When you announce to the baseball world that you're good on pitchers 3 through 10, and then you trade for two pitchers 3 through 10, I can see why that's understandable. You can never have enough starting pitching. But when you say you need a middle of the order power bat that can play the infield months after trading away that very bat, you better effing exactly do that. And now we're here a week away from pitchers and catchers reporting, back to a full 40-man roster with that gaping hole still existing. And honestly, even more so than it was when we were eating lunch just this afternoon. There's no communication. There's no transparency. There's no sense of direction in this ownership group in the front office. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's still a trade to be made that will shut us all up. But every single person who claims to be a Red Sox fan has the right to be frustrated, mad, upset, pissed off, and disgusting in what has transpired over the past year. To wrap things up, I don't even hate the addition of IKF. He's a versatile, good-ish, I guess, defender. He'll most likely end up in a platoon with Marcelo Meyer, at least to start the year. And I've heard he's a good clubhouse presence on Twitter in the last hour and a half. But for $6 million, you're telling me that for a team that pinches pennies every single day of the week, there wasn't a better option in-house? And I'm sure Jim will bring it up in just a second. Sometimes a good move is just not doing anything at all. And I think that's kind of where I am here on this one. I'm exhausted, and I'm sure some of you guys are too.
Yeah, well said. The Martinello Minute is sponsored by Yawkey Way Lost and Found, where old Mickey Gasper jerseys, forgotten utility players, and off-season plans from 2014 mysteriously reappear. If it feels familiar, underwhelming, and already disappointing, congratulations. It's probably Red Sox approved. And last but not least, the third strike.
And now, it's time for the third strike with Thayer.
So to tie it all in together, first of all, I want to apologize. This signing, and I'm not even going to get into the Gasper thing. I don't know what that is. That's public display for the Red Sox nonsense. The Kiner-Falefa, that's my fault. It is absolutely 100% my fault. This afternoon, I was sitting in Jim's office, and we were having a conversation about the Red Sox, and we've been talking about the direction. And I said, you know what? I'd almost prefer a stupid move to no move. And there it is. I swear that's what I said. There's the stupid move. So, Nick, you're just waking up. The Red Sox got a World Series playing second baseman from the Toronto Blue Jays, but it's not the one we wanted. It's not Bichette. It's Isiah Kiner-Falefa. And John, like I said, it's my fault. I'm sorry. This is the way we're going. I agree. No move. They have no direction. They have no idea. The things that they do, it's mind-boggling. They got pressure. They looked bad when Bregman signed. So what do? They go out and they spend an incredible amount of money on Suarez, who is, better than Valdez. I agree. I think we got a much better deal than the Tigers did, and we'll get into that, what the Tigers did here in a little while. And then nothing happens for a while, and there's talks, there's conversations, and you hear Nico Horner, and you hear Shaw, and all these ideas of guys that maybe you can do something to improve your team. But what do the Red Sox do? They jump the shark and sign Isiah Kiner-Falefa. For what? This is a man that I'm sure you could have signed March 1st. There was no rush. You could have gotten into your spring training. You could have gone through it. And yes, he's a nice platoon piece. But unfortunately, the Red Sox team is a team of platoon players. You don't need to add another platoon person. So I'm afraid that we are now going to have platoons at second base and third base. So last year, we're looking at, or probably last year this time, we're thinking, oh my God, we're going to have Devers at third base and Bregman at second base. Here we go. This is going to be potential. And what do we have a year later? We have a platoon at third base and a platoon at second base. Those two people are now in the National League, and we're stuck as Red Sox fans wondering, where are we going to go? Now, do I think the season is over? No. The pitching staff is very good. There's potential. It's going to be, unfortunately, what we've been seeing the last couple of years. We're going to be sitting in there in that 85 to 90 wins sort of piece. We're going to battle. They're going to be there. The Fenway is going to be loaded because it's a historical site. And they're going to, oh, here we go. Trading deadline is going to come up. I wonder what we're going to do. And you know what they're going to do again? They're going to sign like Tommy Pham. And that's going to be it. And we're going to move on. So it's just incredibly frustrating.
Yes, it sure is. The Third Strike is sponsored by the Goodwill, proudly offering second base chances, third chances, and we already tried this chances because nothing says Red Sox roster construction like digging through the donation bin and hoping for a miracle.
Mm-hmm.
You're talking about a little bit, just kind of deep dive here on this Kiner-Falefa. Is he Greek? I don't know. But anyway, bad joke. I'll see myself out. This clown had 138 games played last season in Pittsburgh and Toronto. He had an OPS of 631, an OPS plus of 76. This guy sucks, okay, in plain English. What the hell are we spending $6 million, Nick, on this guy when everybody was so petrified of Gino Suarez signs for just a little bit more than double that, and a guy who could probably give you 40 to 45 home runs? Your thoughts?
Yeah, it's completely valid. I am so lost in the woods on how this went down. $6 million for Kiner-Falefa. I mean, for a team that's been penny pinching for years now, you just threw $6 million at this guy. I'm so baffled. I don't even have the words, truthfully, to tell you how dumbfounded I am from this move. I truthfully don't even think he's that much of an upgrade, truly, over a David Hamilton. I can even tell you that, my buddy. I don't. You could have had an in-house candidate right there. Instead, we throw money at this. Other ways to have spent money. You could have improved bullpen-wise. You could have found something else. I would have even taken Rob Refsnyder back for $5 million, which he got from Seattle. John, you said that before the pod began. You just paid $6 million when you could have had Refsnyder for $5 million? It's so stupid. And please, the glove, sure, I guess it's a little better than what you already got, though. I don't know. I question this one big time. I don't like it. I don't want to like it. And I really don't even want to root for the guy. Sorry, nothing personal, but you don't belong here. You don't. I'm throwing you out now. Get lost.
You know, I've been on record as saying that I did not want to give Marcelo Mayer keys to third base or even second base for that matter for the 2026 season. And my reasons for that were I had concerns over his health. The defense is unquestionable. From what we saw, it's major league ready and probably almost gold glove-ish ready. But we didn't know about the offense, and we certainly didn't know about the health. And I had said that, you know, being your number one draft pick, if he's not going to get a starting job on the major league roster, then you need to put him in the minor leagues for a couple reasons. He's got to play every day. Thayer and I talked about this afternoon. And he needs to show that he can stay healthy for 150 games. That being said, John, if they're going to bring in Kiner-Falefa and you have a roster of Nate Eaton and David Hamilton and Romy Gonzalez, then just give Marcelo Mayer the job. Screw it. Just give it to him. Put him and say, listen, he's our third baseman opening day, no matter what. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, and the guy who I'd bring up above anybody, especially for third base, who you didn't bring up, was Nick Sogard's. Like,
I forgot about him.
Like,
Another
he's 0 defensive run saved, 0 outs above average. He's 50th percentile on his Savant page as a fielder. He could play third base too. Like, that's, if you want to platoon Meyer out there to start the year to see where he's at, like, there's a good option in house. So I mean, a move like, yeah, like there's no, I don't see the reasoning behind pulling the trigger on IKF here.
Thayer, we talked today and even in the past too about this impending outfield, and we've got too many players for the outfield. And one of the things I said to you today was I've got a really strong suspicion that Ceddanne Rafaela may find his way at second base. And now we've got the signing of Kiner-Falefa. What's your take on that now? I mean, is he going to remain our center fielder? And is this really something that he's got a shot to make this major league roster? And if he doesn't make it, they dump him. What are your thoughts there?
When you're saying making the major league roster, you mean Kiner-Falefa making the major league roster?
Correct.
Okay. So I don't think Rafaela at second base is really the option, is really the best role for the Red Sox. They can do it, but again, it's simply lacking vision. It's lacking an idea. I don't understand it. He has shown Gold Glove caliber center field production. He is the only right-handed hitting outfielder in your system right now that's of any use to you. So if you bring him into second base, now you are stuck with 3 outfielders who are all left-handed. And one of them is, a potential head case. He could be fantastic, but he plays center field, and we've seen him in center field, and he's not the greatest. And then what does that mean? That means Yoshida is your DH. And now I say, oh, we have Cassis. And this is the frustrating piece. We're the Boston Red Sox. To be platooning people in positions doesn't make – I'm not interested in doing that. We don't need to do that. We are capable of paying professional ball players to do things. And when you're making these moves, and Falefa probably platooning with Mayer, all right, I get it. Again, why are we doing these sort of things when we could have been bringing in professionals? I don't know how much you would have to pay him, but Nico Horner plays second base. You bring him in. That's the move you make. You bring him in, and now suddenly you have an outstanding defensive infield. You have a pitching staff that is entirely based on putting the ball in play and ground balls. That solves your problem. Now, if you pitch and you play defense, you have some players that can put the ball in play. You're an aggressive style that Cora likes to play. Now you're an interesting team. You're fun to watch. Instead, they do another platoon thing with another guy, which means even if you bring Rafaela in to play second base, he's a very good defensive player, but he's an outstanding outfielder. Is he going to be an outstanding infielder? I don't know. Possibly, but again, you're weakening yourself in other areas for no reason. And that's the struggle that I have. Just the incredible lack of vision that this team has. I think they wake up and they sort of start to roll the dice and to sort of say, what am I going to do today? What's the possible move? And then they go to sleep and they wake up the next day. And instead of building upon all the things that they've been doing, it's kind of like they've etch-a-sketched their brain and like, ooh, what's the move today? Etch-a-sketch our brain. What's the move today? Nothing makes sense. No move has had any relevance to the next one. It's mind-boggling.
Yeah, I mean, it sure is. I mean, I don't. It's almost hard because you want to try to discuss this move, and you get this headache like right here that really just starts to pound because nothing about this move in any rational conversation with anyone that actually has a brain or has actually even flipped on a baseball game for half a minute would understand where this makes sense. You just dropped $16 million and a middle of the order potential minor league pitcher in Sandlin to get underneath the second CBT threshold. And within 48 hours, you throw $6 million to Falefa, and you've got so many internal options. It just doesn't make any sense. And I can't understand what's the next move? Like, I mean, where do you go from here? Nick, 30 seconds. Where do you go from here?
They're gonna upgrade in center field their new beer vendor. In case you didn't hear, they're gonna put a new person out there for the season to start. He's probably gonna get a little bit of a raise, but they're in discussion on a couple people. One's with one group, one's with another. That's their big upgrade that I see. But in all seriousness, here, they're definitely going to add another catcher. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the one thing they do pretty good about.
Jason Varitek is, by the way, in tip-top shape. So I'm going to put him into consideration as well, too.
Speaking about catchers, there's a team out there that got a really big catch today. We're going to switch gears a little bit. The best pitcher probably on the planet next to Crochet. You could probably argue which either one is better than the other. Tarek Skubal was offered $19 million in arbitration when he submitted a much higher figure. Detroit came back thinking he was worth $19 million. However, they think Framber Fat-Ass Valdez is worth $35 million a season. John, your reactions to that signing?
Yeah, so I mean, like, we don't know for sure yet if Skubal won or lost his case, but you know, you're bringing in Framber Valdez for a 3-year contract at $111 million. You have to assume that that Skubal lost his case. You know, I think for just the fact that the Tigers are doing something in what's inevitably going to be Skubal's last year as a Detroit Tiger, and you know, I give them props. They're doing something the Red Sox aren't doing. They're going all in when they need to, so you have to give them their flowers for that. You know, as far as the money goes, there, I'm very happy that we have Garrett Crochet on a 6-year deal for $170 million.
Oh, it's a steal.
Best bargain in town, right there.
Yep. I had said that if they didn't sign him before the season started, it was going to be a 30 or 40 million per year annual AAV. So they are lucky that they were able to do that. But you know, the other part of this, just kind of getting back to Kiner-Falefa for 2 seconds, you're not paying him $6 million to be a platoon player. I really don't think so. I really believe he's going to get a majority of those starts, and that scares the ever-loving bejesus out of me. Thayer, your reactions on the Framber Valdez and the whole Detroit and Tarek Skubal situation?
So just in a vacuum, I'm impressed that the Tigers are going and making this move. I think it's important that these small market teams aren't just caving in. However, I kind of wonder how it's going to look from the Tiger stand. If Skubal did not win that case and he's making 19 and they're paying Framber 35, then I wonder what the year is going to look like. Skubal seems like he's a guy that's a workhorse and takes the ball, but at the same time, he's someone that kind of opted out of a do or die game in the playoffs in the 6th inning because he was at 98 pitches. So he was someone that was clearly thinking about his future as opposed to the well-being of his team. What's this season going to look like for him? Is he going to be willing to push himself to those limits, sort of knowing that the Tigers don't really have a lot of faith? I don't want to say faith. I think they don't have the wherewithal to keep him on that team. I think that's going to be a difficult thing, to the point where I wouldn't be shocked if there's a trade come the trade deadline and he's wearing a Dodgers uniform like everybody else.
The inevitable.
If it's not before the trade deadline, it will be before Christmas of 2026.
There was a mock trade, and I think it was one of those burner accounts, but it had said the Dodgers would trade Roki Sasaki for Tarek Skubal.
Oh, yeah.
That would have been a pretty cool move if you saw that happen. moving right along. I got nothing. So I don't know. I'll open it up to the floor to anybody here on the panel. Let's start with go ahead, Nick. Then we'll take comments.
Well, you didn't ask me my opinion on Framber Valdez. I'm insulted.
Oh, okay. Go right ahead.
I didn't want him in the first place. I didn't want him. I think this guy's a head case, first of all.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember during the season with the Astros, there was I think it was an intentional ball in the dirt I think that was going on. And I'm just watching that with him and his catcher going back and forth. And I'm saying to myself, who the hell is this guy? What the hell is he doing? Here's another player that was involved with the Astros, and the Astros say, we're all set. We're moving on. It's been Alex Bregman. It's been Carlos Correa. It's been who just signed with the big guy, right fielder?
Tucker.
Thank you. And now add Framber Valdez to the list. From world champions to see you later. So it makes you question definitely a little bit about what the Astros see after a championship is done with some of their players. I think they see the regression. I think they see that it's not worth their investment to continue some of these guys. So I credit Detroit big time for this gamble here that they're taking. It's something that the Red Sox sure wouldn't do. I give them a lot of credit to pair Struble and Valdez together. Considering you were that close from last season, why not try and run it back? Kudos to them for stepping up and doing something big here. So I give them credit for it.
Yeah, well said. Couple of comments that are showing up. Glenn says, "I can't do this, fellas." Yeah, yeah, we're all with you. I mean, we don't even know what to say at this point. I mean, it's just kind of like, you just kind of like out of word. You have no words for this because again, there's no way to make any sense of it. Glenn also says, "Bye." He's just out of it.
Bye, Glenn.
6-7. Yep. Okay. 6-7. Ryosha says, "None loans loser." I'm not quite sure if anybody knows what that's all about.
I think we got some spam stuff tonight for some weird reason.
I'm sure. Elliot says this Sox team is a joke. It's so sad when you really look at what the postseason discussion was, that Breslow said we were going to be aggressive and decisive, and that offense, maybe one or two bats, were going to be the mainstay of what we were looking to acquire. And Thayer, you went from Alex Bregman to Isiah Kiner-Falefa.
He hasn't lied to us. He has been aggressive and he has been decisive. He was aggressive in going after, Suarez. He did it immediately and got it done. He was aggressive and went after 15 catchers and decisive. He was aggressive and went after Kiner-Falefa. The issue is he hasn't been aggressive and decisive in going after things that could be advantageous and effective. And sort of just as we talk, this team is not going to suck. They're not. They're not going to be a last place team. They're not going to be they're going to be in contention. They're going to be in the playoff hunt because their starting pitching staff is too good not to be. Now, yes, just like they can get hurt. That can be anybody's pitching staff. So that's not an argument that we even need to make. Yes, if any of the top three pitchers go down, turn out the lights. Fine. But that's the same thing with basically everybody but the Dodgers. So from that standpoint, the pitching is excellent. Now we need work in the bullpen. Do I think that we're going to get the same thing out of Chapman that we got last year? No, I do not. But I also don't think he's going to be a complete waste. With Whitlock, now hopefully the Red Sox understand his role and he will simply be the eighth inning guy and he'll pitch one inning at a time and not two, and they'll burn him out. So that could be beneficial. We have Slayton. If he's healthy, he can pitch a seventh inning. We need a lefty out of the bullpen. There's still some things to do. The problem is what seems to be the most rational moves are the ones that the team never makes. You know, there's you can come in with your ideas of I want Alonso, I want Bregman back, I want to maybe get Bichette, and if you don't get them, okay, I get it. The problem with the Red Sox is, as fans, we've been used to getting those kind of players, and at the second time, as owners, they are so caught up in the sort of theatrics of the whole thing, they make these stupid comments like full throttle and we're going to be aggressive and we're going to be decisive. And they almost cause this issue upon themselves. If Breslow was just sort of at the end of the year, we understand that we have needs to fill and we are going to do everything we can to improve upon this ball club. Okay. Have they done that? Yes. I think the starting rotation with Suarez, and even though I don't love Gray, I think you are a better 1 through 5 than you were last year. You've improved. Your bullpen, probably about the same, maybe a little lower, but that's okay. If you look at the team itself, the fact that you have Contreras at first base automatically makes you better than you were last year because you had Casas, who was absolutely useless, and you had a bunch of platoon players. So you're better. You have a catcher who is outstanding as a rookie who faltered down the stretch because he hadn't been used to it. You have to assume he's going to be better. So that's going to be an advantage. You have a potential, transcendent player in Anthony. What's he going to become? He's got a year under his belt, or at least a half a year. He showed that he had potential. You have to expect more out of him. You had Abreu, who was platooning with Refsnyder. Abreu couldn't keep down food for like the first month and a half of the season, and he never got to where he was. We're hoping he's healthy. He's at least a 2-time Gold Glover. We're better. So there's potential in all these things. But at the same time, because of the history of the last 5 years with this team and their own stupidity when it comes to public relations, we as fans feel that we've been cheated, we've been robbed, and this team is going to be absolutely useless, which is not going to be the case. They are going to be in contention. They are going to be a team that, my guess is in about 4 or 5 months, we're going to be talking about guys that we enjoy, situations that we like. The problem is this team could be much, much better to the point where we're not talking about guys we enjoy. We're talking about real potential to really make a move into the playoffs. But the problem is the front office is just not capable of making that one extra move. If we're talking about Horner instead of Kiner-Falefa today, and how much is it going to cost us, to trade and pay, Nico Horner? If we're going to reset him, $6 million of that, we give him another 15. We're paying him $21 million. Beautiful. You trade him and re-sign him. But that's not how the Red Sox work. And that's what's the most frustrating piece about this.
Yeah, well said. John or Nick, any comments?
I just wanted to say that Elliot over here looks like the next general manager of the Red Sox. I vote for him. He's all decked out, everything. Elliot for GM. That's my vote.
Fix the turf. IFK will convince you he's the best player on the team for a week and then do nothing for 2 months. Probably what you're going to see.
Feel great about that.
Reminds me of Franchi Cordero.
Yeah.
TD, will a package of Duran and Mayer get Marte? Marte's off the shelf.
It's not going to happen.
No, it's not going to happen. And it looks like the Diamondbacks.
Thayer, is this your burner account?
Yeah, right. Looks like the Diamondbacks are going for it with the moves that they've made. Brian Simmons, if it was a smarter front office, I would wonder if they were willing to put IKF at third and include Mayer in a trade with Arizona for Marte.
It's not happening, people.
I think we all want Marte. It's just they're not going to trade him. I think that ship has sailed, unfortunately, and I don't think it's going to be. It's not going to be, that case is not going to be reopened as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I think that IKF at third's a possibility, and then you could do your Romy and Meyer platoon at second base. But that's meaning that IKF's going to be your starting third baseman, which, over since 2018, I've had guys I'd consider a lot better over there, so that's a letdown. But
I would have rather
uh,
had Eugenio Suarez at third base. If that's what they're going to do, I would
yeah,
have rather at least had a guy that can hit the ball out of the ballpark a
well,
few times a week.
yeah. Well, the computer model says that he's not even worth offering a contract to. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't want to give $9 million more and get a guy like that and put him in the fourth slot of your lineup. God forbid.
Nope.
We're
The
better off having.
nerds will be all mad.
No, we want to get Rafaela out of the 9 hole so we can put Kiner-Falefa in the 9 hole. That's what they're more interested in doing. Which still begs the question what the hell this lineup's going to look like. TD, sorry, fellas, the Marte case is not closed until March 15th. I think Diamondbacks will trade Marte and playing the shutdown game to get the best package. I mean, look, I rule out nothing. Anything is possible. I just don't have a lot of faith that that's a possibility. Would I take the guy? Sure. Absolutely, I would take Marte. You put him in this lineup, you lengthen that lineup, maybe you bat him second, third, something like that, depending on where you're really going to move Duran and Anthony. I still question what that's going to look like, if Duran's going to be back the leadoff spot or it's Anthony's now and forever. I mean, anybody else got some thoughts on that?
yeah, I mean, I think it'll be interesting to see where, especially come opening day, where Duran's going to hit. Because if you remember back towards September, late August, Duran, went from being the bona fide, no questions asked leadoff hitter to finding himself in the 7 hole. When the fatigue started to catch up to him towards the end of the year. So, I as of right now, I'd assume he'll probably be in the first, third, or fifth spot in the lineup. But if he starts off slow in the season, there's a possibility he ends up lower than that, and I can't imagine there's somebody else that has the potential to produce at a higher level than him in the front half of the order.
Yeah. And I just think from a speed standpoint alone, if you're hitting him third through fifth, you're going to have runners in front of him that are just going to limit his uptake. The idea of his ability lies in his legs and that ability to go, take the extra base. And if you're hitting him third, fourth, or fifth, you're going to have guys in front of him that are not capable of running at his pace. And all that's going to do is slow him down on the bases. Not that he steals bases at a rate that's really useful, and he doesn't really steal the big base. But that idea of, if there's a guy on first base and he hits a ball into the right center field gap, he's not going first to third. That player probably maybe goes first to third, but he's not going to do more than that. And I think that just limits his abilities. And he's not a power guy to drive in those runs.
Well, remember the other thing that's a big concern, if you put him into a more pressured spot, 3, 4, 5, what's Mr. Muscle Man going to think he is? Mr. Power Hitter. And what's going to come from that. His strikeout numbers are going to go skyrocketed. So I am not entertaining that whatsoever. I have him work out whatever he has to do in the leadoff spot with a different approach. If I was obviously the hitting coach, my approach would be go the other way, put the ball on the ground, use your legs. They're not going to preach that. They're going to preach launch it, put that ball into the gap, put that ball over the fence. That's not Jarren Duran's game. And that is one of my big reasons why I don't want him here right now. I don't. It's because the approach from the organization, from their philosophy is crap. It doesn't work. It doesn't. Until that approach changes, change. I don't even know if this is a Duran thing or an organizational thing, but that is the main reason why I have been so gung-ho on wanting to move on from Duran, because it's not going to change. And I'll take him if he's leading off, again, with a different approach. But if you're going to see the same what you saw last season, you're not going to be happy. And I'm going to continue my fun ways of loving Jarren Duran.
No, listen, I think these are all valid points. It kind of reminds you of that movie Major League, right? It's where the manager says to Wesley Snipes, with your speed, you should be running these things out, slapping the ball, hitting it the other way, like Nick said. I think we're all in agreement on that Jarren Duran should, try to stop hitting for home runs and jacking everything. Go with the ball, understand the game and understand where his strengths are. That's the problem. And one of the reasons why I don't know how that's going to translate is because look, he's another year closer to free agency. He's got 3 years left. So you're talking it's 2 years, it's 1 year. The timer is set on him establishing himself on what his potential future could be in a contract moving forward. Because let's face it, unless they're, and again, I can't say unless they're stupid because the Red Sox pretty much are, he's not going to be brought back here after he's a free agent. And I think was it 20, let's see, we're in 26, no, it was 29 or 30, something like that is when he's a free agent.
2029.
Yeah, so he's not going to be returning. They're not going to re-sign him. They're not going to extend him, I don't think. So if they're looking at moving him now with all these rumor and chatter, I don't see like him being a staple for this team for 5, 6, 7 more seasons. And that being said, if he could just do what he would be capable of, which is what we've been saying this entire time, he would be such a better threat in that number one hole, which would make me feel very comfortable with having Anthony bat second. Since you didn't get a Bichette, you don't have a Marte, you don't have a guy that's really a bat handler, Bregman, that could see pitches, give him an opportunity to steal, things like that. Plus, Anthony's left-handed as well. So if you had Duran on first, you're kind of blocking a little bit on his lead a little bit. It'd be harder to throw behind. If you're going to try to pick him off at first base as a catcher, some of those things maybe mean something. I just, in a perfect world, if Duran could act and play the way I wanted him to, I think Anthony would be a perfect number 2 hitter in my mind. Before we wrap up, I do want to talk about this comment. It's been circulating around. Gordo's got it too. A lot of them have, but Jen McCaffey had said Boston is still on the hunt for more offense, and according to a team source, the Red Sox are still seeking to add another bat with less than a week before spring training begins. Thayer, I'll start with you on that comment.
It's, again, their PR nonsense. Yes, they're looking to add another bat. That could be my boy Tommy Pham. It could be right now they don't have a right fielder, an outfielder that hits right-handed to the platoon with Abreu in right field or to sort of sit there with Anthony. That's going to be what they're going to do. They're going to get a right-handed hitting bat that plays the outfield.
I'll take Andrew McCutchen if they're going to do that.
Again, and that's that's another piece. Like, yes, it's nice to have that, but again, it's just another also ran. Yes, he's a professional. He'll be great in the room. Fine. It's not a guy that's going to make it. That's going to move the needle.
Just don't bet on football with Pham.
There's
punch you in the face.
You could bet with him. You just can't play fantasy football with him. That's the key.
Right.
I hope Bresl's in his fantasy football league.
Yeah,
me too.
Really, the only thing that will make me happy is if Nico Horner is a second baseman for the Red Sox before the start of the season. That's the only thing left, unless they pull something crazy out of their butt. But I don't even – just seeing what Breslow's doing, I don't trust him to even do that. It seems like it's a relatively rational move. And getting back to the conversation I had with Jim today, when we just made the trade where we got rid of, what the heck was our guy we just traded?
Pick
Sandelin.
Yeah. We trade him to the White Sox, and we're looking, this is stupid. If that's Robert, a center fielder with right-handed power who I know isn't very good, maybe that's a potential move that I don't mind. At least we're filling a spot. A big right-handed threat, maybe a little change of scenery does him some good. Okay, I don't mind that move. but they can't even do that. They're like a week and a half late with all those things. Like, be, open-minded. Have a mindset that's to improve your team, but they're not capable of that because they're so analytically driven. That's my struggle. It's just a frustrating thing.
John, is it possible? And again, I don't like to be optimistic about this team because I just can't be optimistic. But is it possible the signing of Falefa is allowing them the opportunity to trade somebody else that's been in this mix? In other words, is this a precursor to, I don't want to say a bigger move because it's a cliche, but could it be a move for Mayer? Could it be a move for Sogard? I don't know if much teams would want someone like that, but you understand where I'm going. Like, did they sign him because they're moving other pieces?
Yeah, it's a legit question to ask. Everything that nothing that Breslow does makes any sense. So I definitely wouldn't rule that out. Um, you know, I'd probably cross off the Horner or Matt Shaw just because IKF's a righty. And then you have to look at what lefties there are, and this team already has enough lefties. So, you could, yeah, sure, it opens up the possibility for a trade, I guess. But at the end of the day, we've all said it before. Craig Breslow doesn't have the it factor to close a deal. So, I'm sure maybe we'll see a report in the next 48 hours of, the Red Sox are interested in player X, Y, and Z. But, how many times have we seen that offseason and nothing's come out of it because the guy can't close a deal to save his life?
TD also says the bigger question is whether Bresbot will include both Mayer and Early to tempt Arizona. Durant to me is way overrated, and he will be part of a Marte package. Again, I love Marte as much as anybody here, and I'd love to have him on the team, but I just don't see it happening. Longtime friend Betty, Breslow can't do simple logical moves unless it's pitching. And probably
even if that,
yeah, and that's probably where we're at. Any closing statements before we wrap up?
I was just looking at the free agent list of different players that are still out there. Two in particular. Well, I guess you could say three because one would be a reunion with something. You guys all good with the pitching, or would you like to take a gamble? Because I'm going to put my GM hat on right here. And I see two names with a very, very solid background that are likely Hall of Famers. Max Scherzer, Justin Verlander. Would you roll the dice on any of them?
No.
You wouldn't?
No.
Depends on the money. I mean, if you're going to get them for $3 million, but you're probably not because they were getting 20.
Who do you think still has more in the tank right now? Do you think they're both done?
Yes.
I think Verlander could probably throw until he's 50 years old. The quality of that, obviously not up to par with what his career has been, but even the past couple of years of it. But I think he's a guy that's at least going to try to pitch. I think he's about 40 wins away to the 300 win mark, and I think he's going to do whatever it takes to get there. So I don't think he's done. I think someone will take a flyer on him.
Yeah, I would agree. Probably a flyer on Verlander would be a stronger chance for a team versus Scherzer. I've always been a Scherzer fan, but it's hard to say. There.
I made me think just after what we saw with Detroit do with Frambo Valdez. Maybe you see Justin Verlander have a reunion with the Tigers. Imagine that as a 1, 2, 3, 4, something like that. So
that kind of thing for the Tigers wouldn't be terrible. Just from a Red Sox standpoint, if you're looking at needs still, they need a left-handed reliever. They need to improve a little bit more into their bullpen. We do need a right-handed bat in the outfield. There are moves to be made. The problem is it's all going to be sort of minimal, circumstantial kinds of things. I don't see another big splash coming, and that's going to be frustrating. And it's sort of the piece with we're talking about a team, like Nick said, is really worried financially. They pinch all of their pennies, and this Kiner-Falefa, yes, it's fine. It's a fine move if you wanted to have him on the team to platoon with Mayer at third base, to be there to sort of, be the Nunez to the Devers that we had in 2018. That's fine, but the problem is we don't have anything else around it. There's nothing there, and that's what they need to do. And I don't think he's capable of making that big sort of impactful move, and that's the unfortunate thing. So I think we're going to have a team of also-rans again like we had last year.
Another comment, Scott, just to get him on there. Do you guys think the Red Sox need one more bat in the lineup, or is it good the way it is? Absolutely need another bat. We don't know where the power is going to come from. That's why I wanted Suarez.
I don't even need power. I need contact. I need professional hitters. I don't want guys that are
any of it. We don't
are platooning.
We don't have any of that at all. So on that note, I think I'm going to wrap it up, and I'd like to wrap it up with this comment from Betty. Gag me, because that's just about where we're at.
Sorry, Ben. I don't go in for that sort of thing.
That's going to do it for tonight's episode of Red Sox Digest. I'd like to thank Nick, Thayer, and John for being on with me tonight. Do yourself some good and go to our website at redsoxdigest.com and sign up for our digital news product. We have articles every day during the season and a few times during the off season as well, especially when news breaks. We will fix it. Hope to see you on another episode sometime soon this offseason, especially if the Red Sox actually make another bonehead move or a good one, which we don't have a lot of faith in that happening. Until then, I wish you all well, and I'd say go Sox, but I don't know if I really want that. Have a great night, everybody.